Surface level leadership conversations are not what we need on this morning. So I'm going to hop right into what it is I actually do. As Lima stated, I'm Rozlan Luck. I work with my work centers around high performing leaders who already have demonstrated their capacity, but now they're ready to expand into a higher level of authority, a higher level of precision, and a higher level of execution. So let me begin with the question. A question that requires introspection, right? So I don't need a performance answer. I need you to be honest with yourselves as high powered, high impact women. Where in your leadership are you still seeking validation for decisions that you've already intellectually resolved? Not where you lack information or skill, but where do you hesitate despite already knowing the answers to what it is that's on your plate? Because what I've found is across industries, boardrooms, even leadership environments, this is what you find. You can possess exceptional competence and still operate with compromised authority. You can produce measurable results and still dilute your influence through over analysis, over explanation, and delayed execution. You can hold positional leadership and still internally negotiate decisions that require intimacy and immediacy. And that tension gives you what's called performance anxiety. So now we have all these degrees, we have all this knowledge, and we know how to perform leadership. That is not your inner authority in action. So I'm not here to discuss confidence because I don't think that we lack confidence. Confidence is conditional. It responds to outcomes. It responds to environments and feedback loops, so to speak. I'm here to discuss something far more stable and far more consequential. Let's talk about that internal authority. I recall a pivotal moment in my own leadership trajectory. I was in a room, and in logistics, it's predominantly male. And I was one of the only females, not only female, but only Black woman, Black person in the room. So I was in that room because I had earned that position through my leadership skill, through my knowledge, and things of that nature. But I was externally metrically sound. My experience was established, my results were validated, my credibility was intact. But yet, internally, I found myself recalibrating decisions I had already made. I found myself softening my language that required clarity because I didn't want to seem emotional. I didn't want to go too fast or speak too loud or be outside of myself because I was trying to keep the comfort in the room, extending an explanation where none was needed. Not because I lacked the capability, but because I had not yet solidified authority within me. I had not solidified that. The shift was not external. When I realized that it happened to me, it was not external, it was structural. I had stopped asking, now, will this be received well? And I had to start conditioning myself to ask, am I aligned with what I'm going to say? And am I willing to stand on what I say? And do I believe it? Do I believe it? The distinction is critical because confidence asks, am I capable? Authority declares that this is the direction that I'm going to go in. This is the direction I'm taking. Confidence fluctuates. So in this room with you all, I'm very comfortable. In that room with them, I was iffy. Do they know more? They've done this? This is their area. So I kind of, swayed a little bit. But authority remains anchored no matter the audience. Authority remains steadfast, if you will. And if you're operating at any level of leadership that requires decisive movement, then understand this. Competency may grant you access, but authority determines your impact. This is precisely where most of us plateau. Not because we lack intelligence, not because we lack experience, but because we lack a structured methodology that sustains internal authority under pressure. And that's where we get tagged emotional. That's where we get tagged as we wear our emotions on our sleeves and we're not really capable of doing anything other than that because we're women, right? So I created the C.R.O.W.N framework. The C.R.O.W.N framework is not theology, it's a discipline architect for leadership such as us and for execution. Simply that. And it's, we think, oh, she's a six-figure earner, she's a seven-figure earner. It doesn't matter what you earn, it doesn't matter what level you're at. At some level, you're in a room where you might feel a little bit downplayed in some instances. So I know Lima stated what C.R.O.W.N meant, but I've rebranded since then. And the C is for conviction, not confidence. Because as we talked about a little bit earlier, confidence sways, it fluctuates. Conviction is where your transition from consensus seeking to clarity driven leadership. You stop outsourcing your certainty in the room and you start. If your decision requires collective approval to move forward, then you're not leading, right? You're deferring. Regulation. Now, as I go back to conviction, I don't mean that in a way that you know it all and you have no room for um, collaboration. What I'm saying with conviction is that whatever you bring to the table, you stand on that. You stand on what you believe is true. And then as you collaborate, you're able to move around that decision. Regulation. This is emotional governance under pressure, which is where we're tagged most of the time in the emotional arena. Your ability to remain composed when variables shift. And if a male raises his voice, he's passionate. If we raise our voice, we're emotional, we're erratic, things of that nature. So we have to learn how to not adapt but emotionally be intelligent in how to move in those areas. If your internal state is unstable, your external leadership will be inconsistent. Ownership. This is full accountability, right? Without delay and without deflection. If we mess up, say we mess up, let's move forward. No narrative, no justification. The moment you assign responsibility somewhere else, you relinquish your authority. And that's what we're trying to hold. That's what we're trying to keep. Wisdom. Listen, this is discernment. I don't know where you are in your life. It's just that it's that gut feeling, that internal clock, whatever we want to call it in the day's time. I call it the Holy Spirit, right? So this is discernment, strategically measured and intentional, not reactive, not impulsive. Speed without discernment is not leadership, right? It's a liability. So if we're making decisions off the cuff and we haven't thought them through, we have become a liability. And my very, very favorite is those non negotiables. These are our standards. These are clearly divine and consistently upheld things that we stand on, not adjust them based on comfort or acceptance. If your standards fluctuate, your authority becomes wishy washy. It kind of becomes conditional. So you want to make sure that when you're setting boundaries, you're setting them for yourself and you're setting them in a position, well, where it positions you to. And then we want to make sure that we're not the ones that's taking down those boundaries or those non negotiables. Because what we tend to do is take on more than we need to prove something to the room. We don't have to do that anymore. We've never had to do it, but we've always found ourselves in a position to do it. So on today, I just wanted to remind you that this is not theory that I'm talking. This is structure. 35 years in a predominantly male arena, I have dealt with a lot of different attitudes, I want to say, maybe, as it relates to me being in certain rooms. Looking at me like I'm not supposed to be there. So this is operational. This is how leaders sustain clarity, command presence, and execute with precision, especially when pressure is high and the outcomes matter. So let me ask one more question. On this one requires honesty on your part to you. Turn that mirror around, take a look at yourself, and say, where is my leadership? Where in my leadership have I outgrown current level making decisions, but I haven't elevated yet to match where I need to be? Where in my current state am I making decisions that I made back when I was 20, 30, 40 that no longer fit where I'm headed? Those are the decisions that you need to look about. If I'm a six figure, why am I not looking at how to get to seven figures? We tend to think leadership, especially if you're a servant leader like myself, we tend to think leadership is all about everyone else. And it is. It's about how we lead others. But leadership is also how we lead ourselves. If I'm not leading me well, how am I expected to lead you well? Right? So
right?
we
So
we have to
we have
ensure
to ensure
that that is the motive behind what we're doing when we're leading as high impact women. So I want to leave you with just a thought. I want you to understand this clearly. Your next level is not constrained by opportunity. Your next level is not constrained by willingness. It's just constrained by your inner authority needing to be structured. Eliminate delay, eliminate negotiation, and eliminate validation. Now, I'm not talking about with your team or with others. I'm talking about internally. If you've thought this through and this is where you're headed and this is where you're going and you believe in it, stand on it, don't be swayed, and move forward. It's called make a decision. So today, let's decide because leaders who influence at scale execute with precision and move organizations forward, even if that organization is your own. Do not wait for alignment. They create it. We create it. So, only question I have left for you all is will you? Will you decide? Will you move forward? Will you stand up in this season? And will you lead with internal authority? Will you do it? Hey, ladies, make a decision. Thank you. That's my time.